Hi everybody, Jack O'Malley. It is a Wednesday, time for an update. A lot's been happening. I've got lots of papers in front of me here because we got a lot to talk about, or actually a couple of topics, but a lot in each topic. So I'm just going to kind of jump in here. Let's start with childcare. Yesterday in the Seniors, Children's, and Families Committee, the 8 representatives that have sponsored the 8-bill child care package sat down and we gave testimony. I'm very hopeful that maybe as soon as next week, that committee will vote our 8 bills onto the full House, and then we can get over into the Senate and get working over there. But we've gotten good response, and these bills are so very, very, very important. I want to talk about this. I probably shouldn't bring it up because I think most people get it, but I do want to address it. I've seen some of the comments and we get some things. This is a waste of time. Why are you doing this? I know a lot of people are saying, well, we should have one parent staying at home. That would be perfect. And in some cases that happens. But, when I was growing up, mom stayed home. Well, guess what? It's a different world than it was 50 years ago, 60 years ago. The genie is out of the bottle. Now, we might be able to get that genie back in down the road. I don't know. I got to worry about here and now. And I think a lot of people think that it's lazy. It's people freeloading. It isn't. These are people who need help. And you've probably seen a lot of the, help wanted signs out there. There have been people who are short-staffed. We've seen a lot of that, the worker shortage. And there's many reasons for that. But one of the reasons is a lack of childcare. Somebody has to stay home and watch Junior, right? So both couples can't work. That's fine. But those families are hurting now, and those jobs need them. So this is a job providing type of thing too. A workforce issue is this child care. So if you don't like it, if you think it's crazy, if we should be back to, father knows best, I'm not going to argue with you, but I want you to know we're here and now. And this is something that when I was knocking doors, my constituents said, we have a problem with child care. And I am thrilled that I've been able to do something on this. So you can think I'm a terrible person for doing this, but I would argue with you that we're doing good work here, and I'm proud that we had those bills in committee, and I will be proud when we get them all the way through and move forward. Now, on that same note, the budget, which I'm going to jump to here now, is the budget is $1.4 billion is going to go to child care, and this is huge. Now, you got to remember here, when I'm talking about this federal money, this is COVID relief money that came from President Trump's stimulus package and President Biden's stimulus package. So this is money that we've gotten over the last year. And each one has certain rules and regs that we have to spend. So it's kind of a mix mash, but that's where the money came from. A Trump stimulus and a Biden stimulus. So we've got $1.4 billion in child care. And this is going to be huge because some of our bills are setting up Navigators to help our daycare providers, our in-home providers, to navigate the government system. Remember, our in-home providers are micro small businesses, generally women who are working out of their home, and they're trying to navigate this monolithic thing called government. So we've got that. Also, there are 10 counties in the state that have no daycare for infants or toddlers. This will provide a certain amount of funding for the next few years to help get infant and toddler type daycare back in line. And I won't go into all the details. You can read the bills. They're good bills. But that's part of this budget. $1.4 billion will go to childcare. That is huge. So there's a lot of money when you're looking at this budget over the next few days and you're reading stories about it. The amount of money is huge. It really is astonishing. I think it's $68.7 billion. What? Roughly 8, 9, 10 billion of that is federal money. The actual, as I understand it, the actual amount of growth that we've had from previous budgets, pre-COVID, is only about 1.25%. Which is not that much when it comes to the general fund, that sort of thing, tax dollars. So we've got a lot of one-time spending in this budget, and it won't be here forever. So when you see these numbers and you look at them, you go, holy smokes, realize some of this is federal money that we're trying to maneuver and get used in a proper, smart sort of way. So keep that in mind in the days ahead. When you see that. All right, working through my numbers here. Some of the things that are in this budget that I think are important. $2.35 per hour for our healthcare workers. That's something it's an increase. That's been something that's been bickered about and talked about. Well, that's set. Local bridges. We talk about road funding. I want to talk about that in a little bit here right now. Local bridges. We've got money there. We want to get those bridges fixed across the state, and we're working on that. Now, the feds are sending a lot of money towards our roads. One of the things that bothers me is the governor and MDOT, remember a couple of years ago, gave themselves permission through a thing to bond $3.5 billion. Well, they still bonded out another $800 million here a couple of weeks ago when we've got $8 to $10 billion coming from the feds over the next few years with the infrastructure plan if it goes through. So I really have some real questions. We've got to figure out a way to make sure that the locals get some money, and that is part of the budget. Knowing that all this federal money is coming, the budget says $200 million will not go to MDOT, but will go to our county and local roads. So that's good news too, because we've got to make sure our local roads get fixed. Let's see here. I'm trying not to be too herky-jerky because there is so much going on here with the budget, and you'll be reading about it, I'm sure, over the next few days. Some of the highlights from the budget: $150 million deposited into the unemployment fund. Now, that's approximately the amount of money that the figure was done with fraud, if you remember that. The problem with the unemployment bucket is that that's where employers pay their tax. And we're saying, the Republicans are saying, wait a minute here, if the state screwed up and we got defrauded $150 million, let's not make the businesses, if you will, pay that. Let's put the money back into unemployment, at least at that amount. So that's what that $150 million is. $135 million into workforce development. There is the Going Pro grant, also Futures for Frontliners, Michigan Reconnect, getting some monies. $65 million in environmental response for PFAS, dam repairs, among other things. Also, $7.3 million going to hire more corrections officers, $7.7 million going to hire more state troopers, $3.8 million for body cameras, which is important, I think, for both the law enforcement and whatnot, and $4.5 million for professional development. Let's not defund law enforcement. Let's make sure that they have the tools they need and keep us safe. Higher education. This is an interesting one because universities, I have nothing against universities, but they get a lot of money. And I think that for the last 40 years, we've been just sending kids from high school to, you got to get a college degree, you got to get a college degree. We're starting to change that now by saying, hey, wait a minute here. We've got to make sure that the trades are respected, and we've got kids going into trades. So that's changing. But for a lot of years, the universities, we were just dumping money, my opinion, into them. I'm not saying we don't need to support our universities. We need an educated workforce, but let's be smart about that, all right? So higher education is getting an increase, but maybe not as much as they've gotten in years past, and I think that's all right, and partly because I think we need to do more for our community colleges because, again, nothing against universities, but our community colleges are where the vast majority of people go now to get educated, retrained, or prepare for that university. So I think our community colleges are our jewels, especially in northern Michigan. When you look at West Shore, NMC, and Nukmuk and Petoskey, those are three community colleges that do a great job and prepare our people. So I am all for our community colleges. Let's see here. Also, the governor also agreed to sign a previous bill she vetoed that will allow small business to get the same tax credit federally that big businesses get. We had to sign that and she vetoed it, but this will allow smaller businesses to get the same tax break that bigger businesses get in certain instances. So I think that's an important thing too. Some of the other things that we're trying and attempting to do through the budget to get the governor to fall in line. There's wording in there to prohibit against state government implementing vaccine passport requirements. Also, enhanced reporting requirements for emergency orders issued by the administration. We're trying to focus in. Now remember, the governor her team has agreed to all of this in principle, but she still has the power of the pen to veto line item some of this stuff. So it'll be very interesting to see what the governor agrees to and what she might veto. Remember, we're heading into an election year. So I think somebody who is very much on the left is now trying to move a little bit more towards the center, especially in light of many of her decisions from the COVID years. Let's see here. Language we've got in the budget. Again, we'll see if she line items it. Language preventing DHH and local health directors from issuing mask mandates for those 18 and under, leaving school mask decisions to local school districts and parents. It's in the budget. We'll see if it gets line itemed. Also, mandates for the Secretary of State to follow state law related to mass mailings. Follow state law, Madam Secretary. A response to the unsolicited distribution of absentee ballot applications back in 2020. It's in the budget. We'll see if it gets cut or if it gets to stay in there. And it would also prohibit MIOSHA from shaming workplaces with press releases if they are fined or penalized. If you remember back in the COVID close down eras, they were big into that. So that's just a high level issue. I wanted to give you some information because you're going to be reading about the budget. There's going to be people for it, people criticizing it, people calling us this, calling us that. We're trying to do our best, and we're trying to be fiscally responsible. When it comes to the COVID money, I can already hear it now. Well, that's money. We're wasting it. Why do the government shouldn't even be giving it to us? You're absolutely right. I think they're out there in the printing press, and the federal government is out of control and needs to get back in line. But where we're at, these funds are there, and if we can use them right now to help people in the short term, we probably the responsible thing is to do that. So there you go. It's a Wednesday. What I got for you again. Realizing I ain't going to be able to make everybody happy, but I'm trying to follow common sense and do what is best for my district and my state, and understanding that one side or the other, I have to govern to everybody. And that doesn't always make everybody happy, but I believe that's the way it's supposed to be. You govern for everybody you represent. You might not all like your answers, but you do the best you can. That's what I'm trying to do. All right, I'm out of here for this week. Talk to you again next. Enjoy the fall weather. Kind of cloudy today, but hopefully I haven't seen the forecast for the weekend, but I hope it picks up and you can get out and enjoy this great state of Michigan. All right, take care.